Hey, Edgar community, excited to be back today with Lindsay, who is going to give us so much information about Facebook groups and getting the right marketing message when you are building an engaging group. I'm really excited to talk to Lindsay because we've worked with her before and she is amazing at producing online events that are around making sure your clients get the best experience possible. Her Facebook group, Build Your Audience Tribe, is one that I am a part of and love consuming their content. So I'll pass it over to Lindsay a little bit to explain a little bit about who she is, and then we'll get into the details of Facebook groups. So Lindsay, go right ahead.
Hi everyone. So I am Lindsay Fox and I produce virtual events and I teach my clients how to host their virtual events, although we call them experience events because it is way more about the experience than just producing something that's a run of the mill that anybody can produce, because that's how we get excitement from our audience. It's how we get them engaged. And that is certainly what we do in our Facebook group and in just our community in general. My community is so engaged, both on social media and actually using social media as a tool to drive them into engagement in my email marketing as well. But creating that experience for them is the biggest part of that engagement, I find.
Yeah, I love the focus on experience, especially because that's what we all crave. In the online world, you can go out and Google so much. So what separates people is kind of the experience you offer. So what do you find if someone has never really sat down and thought about experience marketing in that way? What are some beginner tips you can give to our community to make sure you're focusing on creating the right experience?
It's thinking about, first of all, the people that you are networking with and the people that you're wanting to reach. Somebody said to me a long time ago about being a host and what that means, because I used to find, because I'm one of those extroverted introverts, and I used to find that it was really draining kind of showing up in my Facebook group and having to answer questions, and it was like, oh, this is a lot. But as soon as somebody said to me, but you're the host, you throw loads of parties, you always have people around, you're throwing loads of kind of, I throw a lot of like murder mystery themed parties and various random things at home. And as soon as somebody put it into that context, it was really easy to start thinking about what I needed to do to then grow my community. And then when you're looking at things from that, how do I deliver the best experience? Then suddenly everything starts to come into position. So a couple of quick tips would be, think about your audience, think about where they're coming at things from. Remember that when you're producing all your marketing, you're working on the basis that just because you've seen everything a million times, you think your audience will have. They definitely won't. Think about what that might feel like to a new audience member. Do they have all the dots all kind of nicely in a line joined up? Or do you need to do a bit of extra work to point them in the right direction? So things like that might be, you're talking about a particular topic, you feel like you've been talking about it for ages, but have you linked? So when when somebody downloads a lead magnet, for example, have you linked them to other related things they can go read? Do you introduce yourself and just not take it as being spammy and, yeah, I'm in your inbox, I'm going to sell you something straight away? Dialing it back and just saying, hey, this is me. I'm really honored to have that space in your inbox. Can we have a relationship? Do you mind if I send you emails? This is who I am, and I want to know who you are, and actually start a dialogue. The best tip I can give you is start a dialogue with your community where you're actually talking to them, and don't be afraid to have that conversation, because so many people out there seem to want to market all the time and be really in your face. And actually, we live in this connection economy, so we've got to have that relationship where we're thinking about the audience first and our sales second, because when we switch the role, that's where the engagement and the experience really comes from for the audience. Even simple little things like, with your emails, putting them in square brackets, what you're talking about. So if you were talking about, for us, for example, virtual event creation, we put that in square brackets so people can see, so they can track your emails and go look back at things and go, oh, that's what they were on about. You've just got to connect the dots and close the loops for people, because in the marketing we live in right now, everything is about open loop. It's about teasing people and doing all of this other kind of open elements to make people's brain itch. But in reality, your audience, they want that experience where you actually do finally close the loop, and they want to feel like they count. So all sorts of little things that you can do. I mean, one of the things that I've just done today is we've just had a big event, and anybody who works with me, I always send them a thank you card, because you've come to my space, you've hung out with me, we've had a party, you get a little thank you card, you get a really thoughtful little gift, and it comes out and it looks nice. And it's something that people forget to do. You know, new clients, send them something, engage with them in a different way. And on Facebook, you know, bring them into the community, welcome them, open up your DMs, say, hey, drop me a DM, just be sociable, be the host at a party. Imagine it's your front room. Imagine it's your backyard. Just be the host and create that experience for them that you would in a personal way, because online now, we need to be more personal than ever. That's been my biggest tip.
Holy cow. I love everything that you said. And I think it's some of the most simple things that are forgotten in this marketing world, like you said, where we feel like we have to follow the right script and do the right thing. But the right thing on social media is to remember it has the word social in it. We have to treat our followers like real people and remind yourself, if you were having that conversation in person, what would you say? How would you communicate? Those are the right steps to take in your business too. We want that connection with businesses who care about us, who we know we trust them because they, like Lindsay said, open up who they are. And we trust people, not logos. So that is really amazing advice there. So when you're starting on what you said, the connection part of making sure your business is connecting with the right people online, and kind of like you're in a room at a party talking to the right people. When it comes down to getting engagement, because we all know that's the holy grail of social media these days, sometimes people get a little bit afraid to open up, especially about more sensitive subjects. And I know you have some tips in your group, how you get people to feel comfortable talking, not just in DMs and email, but opening up and sharing their experiences in the group, so that it gives other people permission to do the same thing, and you get those engagement rates to increase. Can you dig a little bit deeper into some things that you've done to make sure those engagement rates stay high?
Yeah, so one of the first things that we do is we dial it back. So when I welcome new members to Build Your Audience Tribe, I actually don't tend to talk about business straight away. The first thing that I do, because, you know, otherwise it'd feel like you're at one of those icky kind of network marketing events where somebody just dives on you and goes, here's my business card, buy now. That kind of sucks. If we're bringing them into our party, into our home, it's, hey, take your coat off. Have you seen the latest episode of X, Y, and Z? And it's about opening that up, because people will not open up to strangers. You know, they don't want to talk about those hard subjects, particularly to strangers, particularly to anybody who might judge them. So they've got to feel safe. So it's about creating that safe environment, and an environment where people just feel like they can network because it's other people who are on the same wavelength. So getting that feel right and that audience kind of fits so that it really takes place and shapes properly is the first thing that we do. So for example, something I did the other day, really simple, was I welcomed everyone in, and instead of going, tell me what you do, it's like, hey, here's a random question. Let me know the answer. And then on the next time I interact with them, I talk to them about getting, you know, what is it you do? And all I did on this particular one was I posted a GIF. I love GIFs. It helps you get to know people in a way that, yeah, a branded picture looks good. It looks all corporate. It looks fun. But actually people know that I like a bit of 90s TV. I like a bit of 80s. My type of people like that. So I put a little GIF in and I just said, hey guys, feel free to introduce yourself and let me know what it is you do and let everyone else know. But most importantly, what are you binge watching on Netflix right now? And oh my gosh, even my 13-year-old was laughing as I'm sitting there going through, 50, 60 messages going, okay, here's a few things that we can watch on Netflix, because so many people commented, because that's what people actually want to talk about. Most people, unless they're hardwired obsessively, and entrepreneurs, we are hardwired to talk about our business a lot, but we also want to talk about other things, because we actually do try and make an effort to be sociable. And just that little icebreaker of what are you watching, the amount of people in our audience who then went through and went, oh, thanks for that. Yeah, I never thought of that. It just started that discussion that you can then start to make people feel safe with. And then we can take that and say, oh, by the way, what are you doing in terms of business? What's your lead magnet? And we can start to, the analogies that I use, I can tailor around things that might be on Netflix. Like everyone's been watching Ozark. Okay. Quite a few people watched Sweet Magnolias and did not like the way that left on a cliffhanger. Okay. We can take that and we can then use that to steer the conversation really gently into some of those discussions, because that type of thing builds engagement, particularly with new members. And then we can go in for the kill. Then we can go in for the conversation about business and get a little bit harder topic, but people feel safe. They feel safe in the environment. They feel safe opening up because it now feels like a circle of friends. It's not a room full of strangers. And that's the biggest thing to start getting engagement. I've had so many clients talk to me about pop-up groups. And that is great if you've got a decent sized list of people who are really, 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 really on it. And you're confident that you can create that vibe really quickly. If you're like me and you're a little bit more of one of those extroverted introverts and you want to build things up and you want to build those relationships because you want to have something that goes beyond just a single sales ticket, it goes into a much longer relationship, then making it feel like a house party as opposed to a room full of strangers or a Facebook group full of strangers is really key. So having those types of softer discussions first, and things that people want to talk about, those viral things that you would just chat to a friend about, that's what builds the start of that engaging relationship before you start just talking about sales.
Oh, that makes so much sense. So Team Edgar community, I want you to really look into your social media posts and see if you're giving these easier questions, these icebreaker questions for people to ask so that they feel comfortable once your business questions pop up. It is such a simple thing to do, to go out and Google those questions, get them in there. And like Lindsay said, this is the content that you can then use to build in resonating messaging. When you're writing your emails, use GIFs that have to do with the TV shows people say they're watching so that they resonate when they open that email from you. It's a beautiful system if you can use it all together. So that's a really awesome tip. One of the things I love that you do is you do a lot of lives in your group. And I noticed that in your email marketing, you'll actually let us know when you're going live about 10 minutes ahead of time. I'll get an email in my inbox that says, hey, are you going to be there? We're going live in 10 minutes. So this idea of how you use these systems of email and Facebook together, I think you do it really powerfully. So can you talk through a little bit about what you find works for that, why you do it, and just some tips you can give to people to make sure that their Facebook marketing and email marketing are supporting each other in the best way?
Yeah, so my point of view for a long time has been that I own my email list.
Mm-hmm.
I do not own my Facebook group. My Facebook group is rented space that hopefully the gods of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg and co, will hopefully let my audience see. So for me, it's about making sure that my audience on my email list are getting the most value. The Facebook group actually comes as that secondary, because that's where my audience can connect with each other, which is perfect. But in reality, if I lost that, then they've still got that connection with me, and it's a really personal connection because I ask a lot of questions in my emails, and my gosh, do my audience answer. I literally got an email the other day again, and honestly, it was about 500-word essay long. It was all sorts, and it was, I just popped them little Loom videos. So one tip I would say is, when I get personal responses, if I haven't got time to just send a reply, I will just quickly either drop them a Loom video, or I use BombBomb as a tool, and I use Dub. So I will just kind of drop little videos over to people as well, just so that I'm taking that conversation either further on email, or if I just think, I need to take that social, I'll just drop them a little social video instead. And that's a great way of kind of melding the two and really making that whole feeling kind of level up, because people love getting personalized stuff. And all I do, and this was a tip that Ethan over at BombBomb gave me, he was like, oh yeah, just have a little sign with their name on. And I started doing this about 18 months ago now. And I have a little sign that'll say, hey Megan, and I hold it up, and then I start my video, and it automatically connects people. So I try and keep it so that we're having that communication moving not only on email, but into video format, and then bring it to the Facebook group. So the Facebook group is that added extra element. It's that added extra kind of bit of community, as opposed to it's all about the Facebook group. Because if the algorithm goes wrong or people stop engaging, it's so much work to re-engage people that sometimes it's just better to say, okay, I'm taking my email list, I'm just going to give you extra support over here, as opposed to trying to just obsess about the Facebook group. And then if something happens, blaming it all on Facebook because you haven't got the list there and you haven't got that engagement in the list. So my top tips would be there is ask questions in your email. Let people know that you're going to personally respond. I do this, and I've got a lot of clients and people who I work with at 7 figures plus who are like, oh, you respond to emails yourself? I do respond. It takes me a couple of minutes each day to whiz through things. And you know what? It's great because I get to know my audience in a way that nobody else would if they weren't having that discussion. And like I say, drop them little videos, drop little social videos, then move them over to Facebook. Say, hey, I'm doing this, I'm going live. Did you miss out? Talk to your people on email like you would if you were talking to them as a person. Way back when I came online, I did sound very corporate. I used to be, hello, I'm very British. Hello, thank you for emailing me. Isn't it so lovely? And you know what? All I got was usually loads of abuse because people thought it was kind of like a robot response, like automated. So now I do talk about stuff. Like I had a call today where, because in one of the emails to drive people to look at Facebook and a replay of a webinar, that if they hadn't registered, I actually just downloaded the webinar replay and put it in a Facebook group so you could kind of just mosey along. And I talked about the fact that one of the bonuses for something we're offering at the moment was rarer than blue, sparkly, glittery unicorn poop. And that phrase has been taken by my audience, and the amount of emails I've had in response to that, the amount of phone calls where people have gone, I heard about the unicorn poop. It's being natural. And again, remembering you're a host. You are taking the role of a host on. It is not, for any introverts watching, it's not you. It's not your alter ego. You're just this host who is here to help celebrate other people and help lift them up and connect them. Be that roadmap connector. And that's really kind of how I take that relationship of reminding people about what's going on in the community in case they aren't seeing it, because I don't expect them to see everything in Facebook, to move them over there so we can have that video interaction. Obviously, we can't get on email for everybody. So that's the way that I approach things slightly differently.
Oh, that is so beautiful. This idea that you really do want to make sure you're personalizing every message, because we just want to know we're cared for in the businesses that we're doing. If you can out care other brands out there, you best believe people are going to think of you and remember you over those other brands. So this idea of, so many videos are watched on mute. So I love that, holding up a sign to have people know, hey, this isn't just a video I'm sending to 100 people. This is just for you, is a really easy tip that I feel like takes 2 seconds out of your day, but so many of us don't do. So those are awesome tips there.
I mean, video works so much more than audio. I had a gentleman email me yesterday. He was like, do you think I could just send custom audios? And that's great, but having something to watch on screen that holds the attention, even just so they're getting to know your face and putting a face to the name, it is so much more personal than just even an audio on its own.
That makes so much sense, for sure. Oh man, Lindsay, I'm so excited to just go into some Facebook groups and start getting a little personal now. You have been so helpful for our community today, and I would love for you just to leave us with one tip, whether it's about experience marketing or Facebook group marketing or email marketing, that they can take action on today.
Number one tip is go and show your personality. Somebody said to me a long time ago about having, 5 to 7 talk topics that are I talk about them a lot. And I liked that, but my issue was that I couldn't get into, and I'm not one of these people that can just say, oh, today I'm talking about this and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this post. I've never been that regimented, because I do what I call compound marketing. So everything is kind of building on itself. I don't want to necessarily appear every single day, because I want my audience to know, hey, I'm human. It's okay to take a day off. So what I do is I express that personality in the way that I communicate. I use plenty of emojis because I know my audience don't want to read a lot of text. They want to read it. They want to read my message like I'm talking to a friend, where I'm going to put lots of random emojis in that kind of make sense. I put in GIFs. I take advantage of what my audience are wanting. And by customizing that to my personality, it builds that relationship so much quicker. So what I would say is, guys, look at the way you're sending copy out. Are you expecting your audience to read, paragraph after paragraph? Are you expecting them to just read block text? Are you expecting them to just open your emails and be, wow, they've emailed me? Because I'm telling you, your audience definitely do not feel like that half the time. You have to entertain them at the same time as get the message across. So look at how you can bring your personality into your email marketing and use that to bring it over into your Facebook group, because that is the best way, because you can bring people in from social, get them to your email, and then bring them back. So you're doing more like a pyramid shape than just, the usual A to B, because that's what everybody else is doing. And that's where people are feeling left out, because they're not having that added relationship. And when it's direct to each other's inbox and you are honoring the space in somebody's inbox almost, it makes a very different relationship. And when you're asking those questions over and over to all of your audience, because people are going to answer, because it's that much more personal relationship, they're going to open up to you in a very different way, and it will help everything else in your business, all your copy, everything you do, because you have people telling you this very, very emotional response because they've got to know you and they see you as a human too. So that would be my tip. Bring your personality in. Do not let your brand just do all of the work. You've got to, most people's brands do not fully reflect their personality. Be the personality, let it show through. That's going to be the game changer.
Oh, I absolutely agree. Your personality is power. And this idea of what do you love to read? You love to read texts from your friends and family and from people who you enjoy their personality. And why can't that be true for business too? You want to do business and you want to read emails from people who you enjoy. So that is some really wise advice. And I hope you all take a lot of these tips from Lindsay today into your own marketing strategies. If you want to learn more about Lindsay's group, I will link the link to her group in the description of this video. Let us know in the comments below what you're taking away from today. And remember to subscribe to our channel to get more interviews from people like Lindsay. Lindsay, thank you so much for sharing today and being so generous with your time.
Thanks for having me. And I look forward to having any Meet Edgar fans come on over, join the tribe. You're welcome.
Awesome.